People say I ain't no good, and I'm crazy as a loon. Cause I shave my head in the morning, pick guitar in the afternoon. Just like old Chief and Charlie, I like to lay around in the shade. Well, I ain't got no money, but you better believe I got it made. Cause I ain't asking nobody for nothing if I can't get it on my own. If you don't like the way I'm living, just leave this bald-headed country boy alone.
What's up, folks? Before we get started with this episode of the Josh Terry Podcast, I just want to give a thank you to each and every one of our sponsors. Mr. Tim Moore at Susan Evans Realty. Reach out to him now. Middle Georgia's best realtor, in my opinion anyway. I love Mr. Tim. His phone number is 478-609-0507. My dude, Nobles Networking, thank you for coming back on board. Mr. Chris, look him up on Facebook. He does all of our internet needs over here at the studio. Seth at Down Yonder Hat Co. Appreciate you, Bubba. Lori's Dive In over in Alamo. Better Than Basic Marketing, Miss Erica. If you've seen the stuff that we have dropped this week with our new merch and everything, she's responsible behind all of it. Cottonfield Grill. Shout out to Mr. Kevin and Ty and Miss Kelly and all the staff over there. We love y'all. Blazer 88, Josh and Brandon, thank y'all so much. Dustin Smith with Total Healthcare over in Eastman. I love you, Stinky. Thank you so much for being a sponsor on the show. We'll be seeing you next week for an adjustment. Mr. Bubba Marlboro. Took me 7 times to say that today for some reason. At hashtag 601 Roofing King. And look him up on Facebook at Blue Collar Alliance. Project K9 Hero. Thank you for all that you do, Mr. Jason Johnson. And Your Choice Healthcare, Miss Lynn Brown. Now, I've read you the sponsors. And I just want to tell y'all before our guest comes on today, Miss Kylie. Oh my God. Not only is she a rodeo queen, a badass, she's been on network television the past 2 years. If you'll stay and you'll listen to the whole episode, she's a wonderful human being. We need a whole lot more people in this world like her. She's just amazing. After an hour and plus long conversation, I just think the absolute world over. She's amazing. So I'm going to shut the hell up and, hey, I'm going to give it away to Josh Terry. What's up, folks? Thank y'all for tuning into the Josh Terry Podcast. The past couple of weeks have been a little crazy. We just got back from Nashville. I should have recorded 3 or 4 more shows, but I literally have a moron all over my social media driving me nuts right now. And I decided, hey, I'm going to take a couple of mental health days, chill back, relax. And I knew I had a great guest to end the week out. I am so excited. She's a badass. I would like to introduce y'all. If you haven't already heard of this young lady, Miss Kylie Blakely. Blakely or Blakely?
Blakely. Thank you for having me on, Josh.
Yeah, I told you I was going to fuck it up. That quick. I overthink it that fast with names.
You're right off the bat with it, huh?
I screw up, darling. It's just one of those things. I'm going to mess up 9 times out of 10. But no, like I probably several months ago, I saw your social media. I can't remember the original post that I saw. And before you like sit here and be like, yeah, I know what you probably saw my ass. I was not it. I do not follow blinds wearing cowboy boots and tight Wranglers for no reason. You had something to offer. It was something cool.
It happens.
I really liked it, and I don't remember what it was. And I was like, oh, she's a badass. And right off the bat, I was like, I got to get her on the show. And I realized that you had messaged me back after I asked you, and then I didn't follow up like a moron. So thank you for taking a second chance on me. I very much appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me on. I'm always happy to have an opportunity to talk about some of the things that I'm passionate about.
Well, what's been just weird as hell is lately all the women we've had on the show, and don't get me wrong, I love each and everybody that we've had on the show, almost besides for that one moron. But like, I've got to see like, I'm not real big on sexualizing women anymore. I have a daughter that's fixing to be 13, and like, I want like her to have strong, badass, positive influences. And it just seems like a lot of the women we've had on lately, even though I love you bitches, y'all be posting your assholes online. And I would just rather every once in a while talk to a cowgirl.
Every now and then, I guess.
Now you got to do what you got to do, right? Uh, you know what I should have done? I should have asked you. I was like, do you have one before I made that smart ass comment?
No, I don't
Okay.
post anything. I will post some stuff that is a little eyebrow raising, but I don't post anything that I'm not okay with my parents saying. My dad follows me on all platforms, and there's a lot of events that I take my dad as my plus one too, because
That's
he's kind
cool.
of into the same stuff I'm into. So cars, music, events. There was a fishing charter that I went up to up in North Florida, and we got to see Kinsey Wheeler, who was on this latest season of The Voice, and I just enjoy taking my dad to stuff, so I don't post anything I wouldn't be okay with him saying.
How old are you?
I'm 27.
Okay. I almost thought you were younger. You're a sweetheart. I really
Oh, thank
wish my
you.
daughter could have just heard that you take your dad to stuff. She's about to be 13 and she don't want me to do shit with her. I hope we're like
She's
you
at
and your
that
dad.
age. She's at that age. I think like 14 through high school, I was kind of one of those kids where like, oh, mom and dad aren't cool. And now that I'm nearing my late 20s, I'm like, you know what? Dad would really enjoy going to that, and I'd rather bring my dad than some plus one I don't know too well. So, because clearly the farmer did not get the wife, so I just
Okay.
like bringing my dad as my plus
Okay.
one.
You said it. I was going to wait on
Yeah,
you. I was going to wait on you. But
we're almost done with season two. I think that all the spoiler alerts are gone and done. So
okay. I didn't. Okay. So, how did you get into this? For those who don't know, you're on Who Wants to Be a Farmer's Wife, right?
it's Fox's season one of Farmer Wants a Wife.
Farmer
And
Wants a
when
Wife.
they first reached out to me, I was kind of recently single. They slid into my Instagram DMs, and I genuinely thought I was like being trafficked for a second. I'm like, none of this makes sense. You can't tell me what the name of the show is, or where we're going, or what I need, or what we're doing. I'm like, what? It just seems so sus. And my dad's a retired LEO. So I ran everything by them, and my parents were even like, this is a little sketch. Because they didn't have the name for the show. They didn't want to have any spoilers, nothing. So they told me what to pack. Wardrobe reached out. I had to do like background checks and psychological evaluations to make sure like nobody on the show was crazy. And like it was so in depth. I'm like, so I firmly believe I'm not being trafficked because I don't think anybody would go this far in depth to make sure that everything's up to par. So
You'd be
uh,
surprised. There's some tricky
it
fucks out
might be.
there. There's some tricky bastards out there.
I know. So I turned on my location on my phone and I communicated with my family what was going on through the entire process. And then my mom was the one that found out what the name of the show was. And she texted me. She's like, I really think this is Farmer Wants a Wife because you keep saying that everybody there has an Australian accent, like the producers. And come to find out, that was the name of the show. And it was season one of it being in the United States.
That's cool, dude. What brought them to you? Like, what was the thing that grabbed their attention about you?
It might have been my TikTok. So I like to think that I'm a little bit cooler on TikTok than I am on Instagram. At the time, I had like over 150K followers, and I love Country Thunder. I
What
love country concerts.
what's your
So
TikTok,
Country
girl?
Thunder,
I'm
it's
looking it up
same
right
as my
now.
Instagram, Jim Bay K. I'm a little bit cooler now, but back then I think I had just over 150, and I had posted a TikTok doing the Neon Moon dance that was trending at the
Uh,
time, and I love Brooks and Dunn.
yeah.
So that got like 3 million views, I think, or 2.3, something up there. And that's probably how they found me. Because at the time, I was just posting fitness content because I'm NASM certified. I was working, at the gym at the time. So I, I guess that's what led them to me. I don't
Yeah.
know. To this day, I don't know. And it's just taken on a life of its own and given me the platform to talk about the things that I wasn't able to talk about previous to the show, like conservation.
Yeah. So I'm looking at your TikTok now,
Oh
and
no.
this is no, this is what I figured because I know what a piece of shit I am. I figured that how I found you originally was through TikTok by doing something like just, I mean, no offense to this. And if
One
my
of those
old,
viral dances, huh?
and if if my old lady was listening right now, baby, I'm being nice when I say this. Do not be an asshole to me later. But like, you're a good looking blonde. Like you're a cowgirl. Like, and so like I would figure I would have already followed you and been like, okay, now I know why. And that was not it at all. I'm kind of astounded how I ended up following you. I mean, I know
Hey.
I see you. I fucking know why I followed you, but I just don't know what individual thing. Oh, you mean this neon moon dance?
Yeah, where it's like the bum 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 bum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just go ahead and tell you, and I'm not trying to make it weird. If I'd have saw this, I definitely would have followed you. Yeah, yeah. There you go. Well, we're gonna put that away before I get in trouble. Um, but no. So they saw your social media and they were like, "She's a good fit for this."
Yeah. And they reached out, and at the time we didn't have the farmers names. They gave me like A B C D E
Yeah.
and told me rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. And they said we're going to find some pictures from your social media and screenshot them, and we're going to put a profile together. And supposedly they matched you to the farmer that was most suited for you. So I ended up on a cattle farm in Oklahoma, and that's where I spent like 2 months of filming.
How did that go? What like? Because you told me before we started, you're a South Florida girl, right?
I'm out of Central Florida,
Okay.
so I mean, it's south of Disney, and
Yeah.
that's what people think of when they think of Florida. They don't think much of what's going on between the two coasts, and nowadays it's more developments in Disney than anything else. So,
Yeah. I hate Florida.
I'm from Osceola County. I hate it. I hate that that is what's going on here, but I'm from Osceola County, Florida. I'm fifth generation Floridian. My great great grandmother's mom came off the Cherokee Reservation in Oklahoma and helped pioneer the county. So we have like a highway in Osceola County named after her main name, which was Bass. So we've been here what feels like forever. And Oklahoma, I've never been to Oklahoma at the time. The closest I'd ever been was Texas. So they flew us to Tennessee where we filmed episode 1. I did not know I was going to go back to the farm. Everything was so authentic. And the shock and genuine surprise on my face when he said, Kylie, would you like to go back to the farm with me? That was very genuine. That was oh, this is for real. So I ended up in Oklahoma, in Guthrie, just outside of OSU. And I loved every second of it. It was beautiful mornings and the most beautiful sunsets. And he had Chesapeake Bay retrievers. So those were my
Oh.
little running buddies when I would go for my morning runs. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I go for morning runs too. Uh, I do not. Whenever I saw your name earlier, and I was like, it's got Jim in the title because I just didn't pay attention to what your handles were on anything. I was like, we're gonna have nothing to talk about. I hate gyms. I hate everything about them. I hate running, but yeah. But Chesapeake Bay Retrievers, I like. I could have been down with that. What? So, what did your
They're
family?
cool.
What did your family think about it? Like, how much context? I got a buddy right now. He's on American Idol, and there's limited contact and there's limited things that we can talk about. And it was even worse for one of my other friends who just got off of Big Brother a couple months ago. And it's like, what was it like for y'all though? Because you're like separated from everybody that you know.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because I could see where casting had found some of the girls. For example, I got to the episode 1 filming and I did pageants way back when. So I got there, I'm like, Sydney, what are you doing here? And the girl that was also from Orlando that was on my farm, her dad used to teach line dance and swing at the bar that my parents met at. So I'm sure their paths had crossed at some point in time. So it was kind of like a small world reality check where I'm there, and one of the girls from Nashville who I'd never met before was friends with somebody that was from Florida that I knew. So it was all just like kind of close knit, but not really. So, but it was very lonesome at first. It was kind of scary because I've never done anything like this. I had
Yeah.
no idea what to anticipate, what to expect. My parents still thought I was probably getting trafficked. So I talked to them as much as I could, and I just went into the whole thing with like an open mind and open heart, and just ran with it because I knew this is a once in a lifetime opportunity that I probably wasn't going to get again, and I don't think Fox will be giving me a mic anytime soon after this. So
Yeah. What was like some of the weird shit? Like I could only imagine. Like if it was me, because I mean you're strangers at first, right? Like y'all,
yeah.
yeah, like it's kind of got to be awkward and kind of intimidating, right?
Oh, definitely. So we sat down with Landon, and I was never expecting to get the amount of screen time that I got, and I still am very grateful for that. We sat down, and I brought something to be a conversation piece, and it was the first belt buckle I've ever won, and it was my Miss Osceola Kissimmee Valley Livestock Show buckle. And I sit down, and I had no idea. I didn't know the guy's name to the point where when I walked up, I said, "Hey, cowboy," which was so awkward. But we sit down and we get to talking about, life, and I pull out my belt buckle. I'm like, "Hey, I got something to show you, just so you know, like a little bit of the real deal." And come to find out, his sister, Lauren, I think her name was Lauren Heaton, she was the only Miss Rodeo Oklahoma to ever become Miss Rodeo America. So he was sharing some of that with me. And when we got back to the farm, that's one of the things that we talked about was life in rodeo and life in pageants and how much family means to us. So we connected right off the bat, and we are still now very good friends. But it was odd because cameras are there. So it's
Yeah.
like, what are they catching right now? What are they going to edit out? What's going to get changed? Because I have friends that had been on reality shows, and I've seen some of the things get changed up. For example, I kind of got a little bit of crap because the first episode we got back to the farm, and we're feeding cows, and we're rolling out the hay bales, and they pull me aside and they're like, "Kylie, you have experience with cattle. What's some of your experience?" I'm listing off the stuff. And then I start talking about the cattle drive that we do did at the time through downtown Kissimmee for the Ram Circuit Finals Rodeo, which is no longer a thing. And they cut it down to, "Well, I have cattle drive experience," and people are like, "What does that have to do with feeding cows?" So it's funny to see how things end up getting edited because it was a little cheesy and corny, but still very fun.
Yeah, I've always just found it amazing because, like I said, I got buddies that's done stuff like that, artists and other stuff that we work with on other platforms. And especially like somebody like me who will say something, and if you don't listen to the 2 sentences before and the 2 sentences after, I sound horrible. I sound like a moron, or I sound like a racist, or I sound just like the worst person ever. And I'm none of those. I might be a moron, but I am not a bad person. And there's been several times that people have clipped me out. Uh, and God, I hate that. But like with what you were doing, it has got to be the most awkward thing to try to fall in love in front of a camera. Like,
Oh, for sure.
oh my God, it's got to be just, and then you know what? And I might be wrong. It seems like it probably takes some of the fun away of it too.
I mean, yeah, because there's certain conversations that in the back of my mind, I'm like, my parents are going to watch this, future employers are going to watch this, my kids one day could watch this. So as I'm having all these conversations and heart to hearts, and we're talking, and drinks are getting poured, and I'm getting more open about certain things. In the back of my mind, I'm like, there is a camera right here
Yeah.
catching everything I'm saying, and unfortunately my mom's always got a saying, and it ended up making final cut of the show, that if I don't say it, my face will. So I became a reaction gif on, I think it was Reddit and X, which was Twitter at the time. So there's like reaction gifs of me and the faces I would make at the different things that Landon or the girls or Jennifer Nettles, which was our host, would say, because I can't control my face. So it would just be like, it was pretty rough.
Yeah.
I'll send you some of them
You'll
after
have
we're done
to. You'll
recording
have to. We
this.
might make that actually like the artwork for this episode.
Oh God.
There's no way. There's absolutely zero chance in hell I could do it. I had to get mic'd up literally for an hour for American Idol this year. And it was just nothing. It was me doing an intro. It was me talking about my buddy for a few minutes. Nothing. I've never been more scared in my life. I didn't realize what a shit mouth I had. And I really didn't realize what a shit mouth everybody else had until that mic is on you and it is hot the whole
Yeah,
time.
they're
It's
catching everything.
scary.
So there's a little trick that I learned, because they would come barreling around the corners at the first sign of any altercation or any
Yeah.
words being exchanged between me and the other girls or anything. And my biggest thing is, let's keep it family friendly. Let's keep it clean. My parents are going to see this. Like, your employers are going to see this. So what we would do is we would take where the mic was hidden and kind of crinkle the shirt so it just sounded like
Ah.
radio static, and we'd whisper like, "Hey, that wasn't cool. Like, you need to chill out right now."
Okay, for everybody who doesn't know the dynamic of the show too, like kind of explain to them, like it's more than just you chasing after this one cowboy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So there's four cowboys, and I was under the assumption it would be like Bachelor in Paradise or any of those series or shows. I've never seen Farmer Once Wife previous to this, where they're gonna stick all these girls in a room and all four cowboys in a room, and everybody gets like maybe like a speed dating thing with them where you could see who you're most compatible with. And apparently Fox kind of like matched you to the farmer and like what level you rated them at or what level they rated you at. And next thing you know, I'm going to Oklahoma. So we get there and there's so much going on, and you might have experienced this with American Idol, that they want to have so many authentic and real reactions, which it was, to where you're kind of kept separate from the farmer. So it's all there caught on camera, all the genuine reactions and the hard eyes and the pining. So I didn't really get to know Landon that well. There was no time to, and it just went so quick. Like our one-on-one date, we spent the whole day together, which Jennifer Nettles talks about. Everybody gets their one day with their farmer, but it goes so quick that there's not everything that can get discussed. For example, he brought up my job being an issue and relocating to Oklahoma, and I'm like, I work from home and I fly out to wherever I need to fly out, and I could work from anywhere. But that never came up in conversation. So it's just because of the time constraint. So I ended up getting a lot closer with what we call the group chat Landon's Ladies.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a sister wives moment where we were all cheering on the other girls and we're like, no, go enjoy your date. Tell us all about it when you get back. Like we were all excited for each other. So I ended up on a Times Square billboard and a Super Bowl commercial, dancing in a pink dress, which was ultimately the episode I got sent home on. But even now on Hulu, if you watch the promos for the show, it's still me and Landon dancing. But the same night, they pull me aside and I get sent home and they're like, how do you feel? I'm like, no, he's absolutely right about everything. I wish him all the best. He's a great guy. His family did a great job raising him. And I'm kind of teared up, but I'm like, can I get a minute? And they kept, can I get a minute in? So there's billboards and commercials of me going, can I get a minute? And that was me maintaining my composure. But when I said goodbye to the girls, I broke down. I was sobbing. I was crying because we had gotten so close and we still all are very close. So I feel like that's one of the things that you don't get to see on TV and you don't think about. And especially with season 2, where they brought in extra girls and were trying to encourage altercations, we just didn't have that on our farm. There was like a sense of sister wife camaraderie to the point where Landon even made a comment, let's take this whole bus to Utah. And I made a face like this, like, it's Farmer Finds a wife, not 8 wives. So
I want you to know there's 2 different kinds of men in this world. One is going to say, hell yeah, I got 8 gorgeous women around me all the time trying to be my wife. That sounds amazing. And then there's people like me that sounds like the most exhausting thing of all time. You know how hard it is to figure out one of y'all and to talk to one of y'all and deal with one of y'all's emotions and to care about one? There is no way. I'd vote myself off the show after a week. That sounds so bad. And there's got to be like, even with y'all, like, I know there's got to be like a sense of, I don't, how do I put this and not sound like a dick? Because I don't mean it towards you that way, but it's like, how can you really take this serious? Because y'all guys are told to take it serious, right? Like, you're really trying to find like your significant other. But it's like, how can you find your significant other when you know they're entertaining 7 other women in front of you?
I mean, I made a comment.
Yeah, so here we go. Here we go. We dig it now, baby. We dig it.
I made a comment and it didn't make it to the final cut, but the producer was laughing and the camera guys were laughing, and I ended up becoming good friends with our camera guy, Rick. He's absolutely so much fun and made the entire process so much more comfortable and fun. So we're sitting there and they're like, Kylie, hold on, let me get into Claire mode because that was her name. Kylie, it's Farmer Finds a wife, not 8 wives. And Landon made a comment that you made a face at. How do you feel about sharing Landon after you and Landon going on a date, sharing time together with other women? And I said, well, it's not that much different than dating nowadays, except, at least I know the 8 other women.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's good.
it's just the first time I've actually known about it.
That's good. Yeah, I'm 36 years old. I've never been married. I'm weird about marriage. Like, I expect more out of it. I had great grandparents that showed me like what a marriage is supposed to be, and like I just don't like. I've dated some amazing women. My daughter's mother is amazing. Girl I'm dating now is awesome, and I hope that it's something special. But like, I get it because I've been on the opposite side of that. There's just not enough people nowadays that take they just don't take it serious and it
No,
sucks. It's fucking sucks. And like with something like you seem like a genuinely sweet person. Like, and
thank
I
you.
about like I would think that somebody like you, once again, don't mean in a bad way, but like if I had my opportunity to go do my buddy that just got off Big Brother, Cam Harden, shout out to you, Bubba. Uh, if I had my opportunity to do it, of course I would do it. I'd bitch about it the whole time, but it's just so good for the rest of your life. Like as far as career goes, wise, everything across the board is going to probably improve, but your relationships like those
Oh
are
yeah.
probably gonna get hurt by that. And it just seems like you being the nice person that you are, I can tell you're a genuinely sweet person, that you're probably like, this is kind of it's a little stupid. Like I can sit here and I can take my 15 minutes and I'm gonna enjoy my 15 minutes, but I'm not taking this too serious.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to fall in love one with the cameras there, and then also keeping in mind that he's probably kissing other girls on these dates and hanging out. Like he's genuinely making connections with these other girls, and he ended up getting together with Ashley Larea, who was out of Dallas, which it made more sense because they lived closer than
Yeah.
where I was at, flying across the United States. And I've done the long distance thing before. So I'm no stranger to it. I was okay with it, but he was at a different place in his life where he's ready to get married and he's
Yeah.
ready to have kids and he's ready to settle down. So, the long distance thing wouldn't have worked out for him. And at the end of the day, like it's farmer finds wife. It's about what Landon wants,
Yeah.
not what Kylie wants. So
I want them to do
I
the
came home and I came off the show.
I want them to do the inverse. I want them to do the
Ooh.
inverse. Like
Kylie
Cowgirl.
finds a farmer.
Yeah, that's what we need. But we ought to make it. Gracie, come plug it in up over here. Like, tell Miss Kylie, hey Gracie, that's my daughter. She's an asshole.
Hi, Gracie.
Um, but like that would be cool to do
The
the
Australia version actually has had girl farmers.
yeah.
And I think one of the other countries has had yeah, they've had several girl farmers seeking guys, and one girl I think had an apple farm. I haven't followed it. My mom watched a couple episodes. I've seen some of the tweets and stuff, so I might find the time to sit down and watch it. I just haven't had a chance to yet. But they've had the inverse on other seasons. I just
That's
don't think that the United States one's quite there yet
see,
because it's still so new.
I think that's more entertaining and more realistic, just for the fact that like I mean, you've got right now, without me knowing a damn thing about you, you've got 50 different guys begging for your attention daily. Your DMs probably look stupid. And we're cavemen.
I try
We
not
don't,
to look at them. They scare me.
hey, look, I don't blame you at all. The men are bad. I think the women are actually worse at the shit that they'll send you. Like, there's some brave ass. If they knew what a crazy beautiful soul my girlfriend was, they would not send half the shit that they send. If she was close enough, she'd cut a bitch. But like I would love though to see like 10 guys, 8 guys, whatever it be, like fighting over your attention. That would be good. That would be where
I
like
think it'd be entertaining.
I think it'd be real because oh, they'd get so salty.
Because with the Bachelor and Bachelorette, they flip flop.
Yeah.
So it's like the fan favorite of their season ends up being the Bachelor, or the next season the Bachelorette. And then like the two villains or the two, kind of entertaining ones end up going on Bachelor, Bachelorette in Paradise, or whatever it's called. So other shows do it. I think maybe Farmer Wants a Wife should try it.
Yeah. You know what else I found like interesting about this? And you can tell me if I'm wrong because I didn't do my homework. I like to find out like shit in the moment. So where I grew up, my family are cotton farmers. Like we don't really have much to do with that anymore, but we do cotton and peanuts and everything down here. And ain't nobody where we're from getting rich off of farming.
No.
I kind of thought it was interesting how like it was the more upscale. Like I would love to see like if they did, of course, reality TV isn't real. I mean, it's got a touch of real, but it's got a whole lot of fantasy to it. I
Of
would love
course.
to see what they would do if they came and had to marry Jim Bob from a broke ass cotton farm and deal with his ass and all his broke down tractors and listen to him bitch all day and run irrigation. I'd love to see how that actually played out. That would be funny to me.
So the producers from our show were also the same producers of Joe Millionaire, where they had like
Okay.
the regular dude and then the millionaire, and the girls date both of them to figure out who's what.
Yeah.
But when I tell you that this thing is authentic, Landon's house had gotten hit by lightning, I think a year or a couple months prior to filming. So he had a chimney at one point in time, and it's not a big house.
Yeah.
So when they pitched the show to me, I'm thinking Rip Wheeler. Like I'm out of a relationship. I'm going to meet Rip Wheeler at the Dutton Ranch. I am full sin. I'm dialed in. I am ready to go. And I get there and it's Landon. I'm like, you know what? I can make this work. And we get back to his house, and he's living in a camper, so the girls have rooms, and he has a loft and 2 bedroom little cabin. So it's small, and come to find out it was his grandfather's, but it had been hit by lightning and the chimney blew up, and he had never gotten the chimney replaced.
I'm looking at
So there
Landon
was a
right now.
hole in the wall.
Not at all
Yeah.
what I expected. Not at all. I clearly had this guy misjudged and I thought it was something else. Not at all. I mean, he's not a bad looking dude.
No,
Not
it
at all.
just
He's not a bad
he's
looking dude.
he's what you would expect to find. And I mean this, I adore Landon. We're good friends now, but when you date a farmer or anybody in ranching or anybody in cattle, they all kind of have like the same look. And that's the type of guy you would run into at a 7-Eleven or
Yeah.
Circle K at 6 in the morning when they're going out to feed cows, getting some monsters and Red Bulls and maybe like a breakfast burrito. Like
Yeah.
that is what you expect to find at any 7-Eleven at 6 a.m. So run of the mill, regular old rancher. But yeah, he had a hole in his wall. So, and it's a little 2 bedroom cabin. So when I tell you that this is the authentic real deal, nobody really gets rich in ranching anymore.
Oh,
Equipment
absolutely
is way
not.
too expensive, feed is
Yeah.
way too high, land is way too expensive. So
I'm
it
trying
was the real deal.
I'm trying to find your commercial. Because I feel like I remember that commercial. I don't know why. I feel like I remember this commercial on Hulu, but I feel like I remember this commercial.
With the pink dress and me spinning, or was it me going, can I get a
I've
minute?
got a feeling that if it's what I think it is, I can about name what you had on. And the pig side of me should have went and watched the show like right thereafter. Is that you? They really wanted to focus in on your rear end,
There was a
didn't they?
lot of blondes.
Oh,
Maybe.
you can tell you. Yeah, that's you. Yeah, you can
Oh no.
definitely tell you.
Was
You're
it the axe
cool.
throwing date?
No, I'm just looking on Instagram or not Instagram, but on Google. And like I'm just looking at the pictures and everything from everybody. Um, no, like I'm looking at all the dudes because I clearly none of them look like what I expected them to look like.
That's what I thought the same thing.
Like I'm not knocking none of them. Like I'm no fucking
No,
prize
they're
pig at
not.
the
They're not
fair.
unattractive guys by any means. I think they were all decently attractive.
Yeah.
Fox did a really good job. Season 2, everybody's really pretty. I was expecting Rip Wheeler.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, and like, I think the thing that's so appealing about Rip is he's
It's
kind of
not
a,
his looks. It's the
yeah,
fact of it's who he is to Beth.
he
Because
has the,
Cole Hauser's an okay looking guy.
yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't go up to him or talk to him at a bar, but like it's how he is with Beth, and I think that that's what makes the Rip Wheeler fantasy what it is for
yeah.
women.
He does the little things, and I don't know how Taylor Sheridan did such an amazing job of it, but like he does the little things throughout that show that not only shows her that he is hopelessly and helplessly in love with her without being kind of a baby back bitch about it, which is like it's a fine line. Like every woman wants that man that is obsessed with them, but not obsessed with them. Like it's a fine line to where it gets
There's a
weird.
line between sexy and creepy,
Yeah, yeah. Like, and he
and
pulled.
some people walk it hard.
Oh, dude. I know I'm probably the worst. I know I am. But like, he does that, but he's also super protective. And I
Mhm.
think that's what every woman, regardless of who they are, I don't care if you are a feminist, I don't care who you are. When you find someone that makes you feel safe, oh yeah, you're good. Like that's you don't realize how much you've longed for that. And
Mhm.
they do a great job with Rip because he's not like, and I'll tell you this, Beth, you know why you don't hear a lot of men being like, oh my God, I love her so much. Like she's just the perfect woman.
She is crazy.
There's
That
nobody
is a
wants
whole lot of woman.
nobody wants to deal with that. There's nobody. I say it all the time. I love Miranda Lambert. I think she is one of my favorite female artists to listen to. I love all her songs. But if you told me I had to date somebody that thought crazy was being okay, like Miranda Lambert has taught everybody for the past 20 years, absolutely not. And Beth is the queen of Crazy Town. Absolutely not.
Oh, for sure.
But like I would figure, once again, you can't put me on there. You can't put somebody that actually, you can't put somebody that's closer to the everyday farmer. And I'm not even close to an everyday farmer, but the ones around here, I probably look like something along those lines. And you can't put that on TV because we would hate it and we would get kicked off first day. I hear it all the time from my buddies, whether it's a radio interview now or whether it's anything on TV. They're like, Josh, you would kill at this if you had that little thing between your mouth and your brain to where you filtered some shit out because you can't. I would get in so much trouble, dude. That had to be kind of hard because you seem like you're outspoken, but like in a good way.
I I have a hard time keeping what I'm thinking to myself. I don't have much of a filter, which is why my face said a lot on the show. But that was something that I just kept in the back of my head is like, my dad's gonna watch this. I can't make that joke. I can't say that comment. My dad, my future employers, my future kids one day might pull this up. So, but my dad has also seen me after a couple beers, hanging out. Like I take him to events. So
Yeah.
we're up there at the Kenzie Wheeler concert up in North Florida, and one of my closest friends, Andrew, he's in a wheelchair. He's paralyzed from the waist down after
No.
an accident, and he is so much fun. No, don't. Oh, this man pulls. Let me tell you what. He is the most outspoken, funny, and he's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
So we crack jokes, and that's how we deal with a lot of stuff in our friend group. And Andrew and I are cracking jokes, and I forgot my dad's sitting there, and next thing you know, my dad's laughing, and he pulls me aside and he's like, "Hey, I take this guy's trip every year, and it's just a bunch of old guys trying to be comedians and just having a good old time." And he's like, "Do you think Andrew would want to go?" I'm like, "He actually would enjoy that
That's cool.
immensely." So I crack jokes and I forget he's there, but then I think in the back of his mind, he also knows I'm his daughter.
Yeah.
My mom, unfortunately, literally said, copy, paste. And if he doesn't say it, sometimes I do. And then he's like, oh, Kylie. It's funny, but Kylie, come on.
That's insane. Because me and my daughter are the same exact way. Like there are so many times that she says shit and it's like I want to get on to her, but it's like, that's so fucking good. Like you just nailed it. And she roasts me. Like I followed you on TikTok. When you get a chance, follow me back and look at some of the videos of me and my
I will.
daughter. Dude, she's vicious. She's perfect. And I think most of us dads love that. We first off, I've said it for so long now. Like I want my daughter to be a Viking queen. I don't want her to need a man. If she wants one, that's awesome. Like, but I want her to be able to take care of herself, defend herself, but also enjoy herself without a man. And you don't really realize that shit till you become a girl dad. And it makes you like see the
No.
world from a different point of view. I've had 13 years now to where I hate men. I think men are gross. I think we're disgusting. I hate almost every one of us. So when I'm sure your dad or when has probably had the same feeling before that when you see your daughter like not being one of the boys, but not being like overly sensitive and being able to roast people, have fun and enjoy life and take a joke. That's cool for us. That's really, really cool for us.
It's something that makes me kind of sad thinking about it because a lot of girls don't have that relationship with their dads, and I see it in my friend groups and I see that like out in public and even in the social media spaces, with the connections I made there and some of the girls that you were talking about being on the show. I don't
Yeah.
think that not everybody has that relationship with their dads.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think they do either. And it's sad. Now, like I've had several of the OnlyFans girls on here that do have good relationships with their dad. Uh, and they're always interesting to talk to because I automatically, because I'm an asshole, I figure if you have an OnlyFans, if you're a stripper, if whatever, like you got daddy issues, like
You
daddy,
automatically jump to daddy
yeah,
issues.
like
That's
it's
how I think. I would immediately jump to
yeah,
that.
like some of them, there's a good portion that are not. And when you see the ones that it's literally because of daddy issues, it makes you respect people like you so much because you and there's a girl, I won't name her name, she's done the show a lot, but y'all both in a drop of a hat within 30 minutes, if you were to start something like that, you're a millionaire. Like overnight you're a millionaire. But you having more respect for your dad, and you're like, and I'm not knocking those girls because I know y'all are gonna listen to this, but like you having the willpower, the strength to be like, if I'm gonna make it, I'm not gonna make it that way. Like that's cool to me because, and that means your dad did a good job though.
It depends on the day you ask him, but
Oh,
like if
we
you ask
met
my brother about Farmer Want's wife, he was against it. He thought it was the dumbest thing I've ever done, and
your
I've done a lot of dumb stuff.
your brother thought it was dumb, or your dad,
Hmm.
your brother.
My brother.
Your brother probably didn't want you on TV looking hot as hell, having to be paraded around for farmers either. Like I could see how like it catch hell. I can see how he probably didn't want the burden of dealing with that.
Well, it's funny because like if you look at my family's social media or my social media, you can't even tell that I have a brother because he and we think the same politically, but he's a little bit more intense than me, where he
Yeah,
does not like having a digital footprint at all. So he you can't tell that I even have a brother in some stuff. And I made a TikTok with him one time and he called me and he's like, you get that down now.
that's funny to me.
So
Oh, he had to be
it's
pissed
funny
about
to
the
me too.
he had to be pissed about the one I disliked then. I could
He
say like
might have.
yeah, that's, but I mean, it's like with anything though. You kind of got to take it as a compliment that somebody cares that much.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, because I could just imagine. Like I'm glad my sister's ugly. Like now that I'm thinking
Oh
about it,
my gosh.
I am. I'm glad. I'm extremely glad my sister is not a beauty queen because it would, or my mom, for a matter of fact. Uh, I think
Kids are rough these days because my brother and I were like polar opposites with a lot of
yeah,
things. Um, I like being outside. I like getting dirty. I like playing sports, and I just enjoy that. I love being outside. That is my happy place. My brother, he was always the I'm staying inside playing video games type. And I was a varsity athlete all through high school with multiple different sports. And my brother, like, he just would not pick up anything. He wouldn't get into soccer or football or weightlifting, even. But he got into engineering and he's an engineer now and he's very smart. He's a lot smarter than I ever hoped to be. So in high school, I was on his pickup list and I'm like, I'm going to be the cool sister. I'm going to be the cool big sister today.
what's the
So
pickup? What's the
I
pickup
pull
list?
up. So you got to have a pickup list to be able to pick people up from school early.
Oh,
Like
okay,
you got to
got
be
you,
on a certain list.
got you,
So I
got
was
you,
on
got
his
you.
pickup list. So I pull up in my Jeep. I took the top off the Jeep for the day. I'm like, we're gonna have fun. I got us Universal tickets. We're going to Universal Studios. I'm gonna surprise him. So I pull up and I'm like, hey, Cameron has a doctor's appointment today, and they bring him up to the front. And he's like, Mom didn't say anything. I'm like, get in the car. Get in the car. Come on, we're late. I was late getting you get in the car because he's like, Mom didn't say. I'm like, get in the car. And he gets in the car and I start driving off. And he's like, no, for real. Like, I don't remember having an appointment today and I have a test later and I can't miss this test because, like, I'd have to make it up and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I saved you from that test. And he's like, so I don't have a doctor's appointment. I'm like, yeah, you have an appointment with Dr. Doom. We're going to Universal Studios,
Ah,
buddy. And he's like, take me back to the school right now.
yeah.
Take me back right now.
Your
I'm like,
brother
you
said
loser, you dork.
your brother and my daughter sound a lot alike. My daughter is like full ass gifted and all this kind of shit. I don't know where the fuck she got it from because me and her mom are struggling in those departments. But like, never had to help this kid with homework. I don't even know that she does homework. I know she's got all A's and everything, like top of her class, all the shit. But there's been
Wow.
times like I'll go pick her up and like there will only be an hour left in school and she's like, I want to go back. Me back in the day, if you'd have picked me up 30 minutes early,
I'd
I'd
be
have been
gone.
ecstatic. I'd have never looked back. I'd have told everybody to kiss my ass as I was walking out.
I'd be out of there. Absolutely not. I've never been strong in math ever.
Me either.
And I make jokes all the time because when my brother and I are fighting, and I'm starting to make valid points, he'll say, "What's like 8 times 8?" Or like he'll ask me a long division question, and I'm telling you right now, at 27 years old, if somebody told me to reduce a fraction, I might start crying.
I
But it's
might
because God knew I would be too powerful if I could do math.
Yeah. My daughter knows I'm dyslexic and I cannot spell to save my life. We will be in the middle of a fucking argument and she'll say, "Hey, spell giraffe, Dad." And oh boy, I'm telling you, I will be hot. She is the worst. I'm telling you, we'll be in public and she'll do
That's
that
the
shit
best
to
thing I've
me.
ever heard.
She'll be like, "Spell giraffe." Well, like she hates, like, I'm a big fish in a small pond where I live, right? Like, I refuse to live in Nashville. I go up there 1 week out of every month to record shows, but like, I love my country ass town. The problem with living in a small town, especially next to the one where you grew up, when you go places, it's never the pretty person, it's never the well put together person. And I love everybody that listens to this show. I ain't knocking none of y'all. I'm just telling you, some of you bitches, what y'all do to us. Every once in a while, you'll get somebody that wants to walk up and they want to show, hey, especially like when we do our mental health stuff. Like, that's my, like, I love talking about mental health and all that kind of stuff more than anything. When we do something like every once in a while, somebody will come up and they'll be like, "I really appreciate that. Thank you so much." And they'll be being super nice to me. Gracie will get tired of the shit because, one, she hates the attention. She does not like anybody knowing who her dad is. She catches shit at school. She cannot stand it. So when somebody's being nice to me in public, she'll make it as awkward as possible quick. So we'll get out of there. Somebody be like, "I really enjoyed the show yesterday, Dad." And your kid is the one that's going to knock you the fuck down. She'd be like, "Spell giraffe." Yeah, ask him to spell giraffe. He can tell you how you're supposed to feel, but that bitch can't spell. And it's just like, Gracie, the fuck, dude. Like, this is what we do for, like, we have a studio. We don't have another job. This is all we do. Can you please let people every once in a while? You probably know, like I do, when you're having a bad day, there's nothing better than somebody kissing your ass just a little bit, just enough. She don't let it happen. She will knock
That's
me
funny.
down so quick. It pisses me off so bad. Everybody else will be like, "Oh, my dad's cool as fuck." My kid's like, "I don't care. You can't spell. You can't do fractions. I don't much like you. Some days you make me do dishes." That's all she'll ever see of me is I make her clean.
Well, I mean, you got to think about how that's going to be when she starts dating later on. It's got to feel good as a dad to know that she's not going to see at the surface level like, "Oh, this man's, blowing smoke up my ass and he's going to take me to Miami and he's going to take me out to eat." She's going to be like, "This man can't spell. He did
Yeah.
not punctuate that right. I don't like him anymore." And that's a good feeling, I'm sure.
Absolutely. You know how, like, since we was talking about Yellowstone earlier, there's a scene, and I don't know why the hell it keep coming up on I don't know what it's been coming up on, maybe my For You page or some shit, but it's like where Rip asked John that somehow they knew they was getting married, and he was like, "You've already done the hardest thing. You love my daughter," or whatever. Like, you got your hands full the rest of your life or whatever. I genuinely feel bad for whoever my daughter marries or who she dates. She is vicious. Her mom has a smart ass mouth just like I do. She's got a little bit of a mean streak. There's nothing that's going to stop this kid. Like, I'm sure that we're going to have so many times going to high school where I hope she doesn't like try to become an activist or anything where she wants to protest shit, like she becomes a vegan or something out of the blue, where she really cares about the environment. Because if she starts debating with teachers, yeah, we're going to have to find a new school system.
She's going to win.
Oh, dude, she's vicious.
Put her in debate team. That kid's going to be a lawyer one day and you're going to be like,
fucking
"Hey,
hope so.
keep me in mind when you're picking out my nursing home, hun."
Yeah, I don't know what she's going to be. I'm scared. I think she might end up being a fucking dictator, to be honest with you. Like, she's liable to just go take over
That's
a
every
country.
girl dad's answer.
Jesus
Every girl dad's
Christ.
answer. guys come home to meet the family, and I'm very, very, very selective about who I
Yeah.
bring home to meet my family. So like when that happens, like that means I'm pretty serious. So
Yeah.
my mom is typically the one that's like real hard to impress because my
Hmm.
mom's like me, and my dad's typically the one that's like, Kylie, you're being mean to him. Knock it off. This one's nice, Kylie. Kylie, stop. Kylie, be nice. And he's the one that they think that they have to impress my dad. I'm like, nope, you got to win mom over.
Yeah.
Dad's the one that shakes his hand and says, good luck.
Damn. Yeah. You
That's all
seem,
girl dads.
yeah. But like I said earlier, I think it's a compliment. Like, not to be on a touchy subject, and I don't mean to bring up anything bad about this, but I just got a feeling you've never experienced it. And if you have, I'm very sorry. But like, there's something about knowing like your daughter's not going to have to be in an abusive relationship, or like she's going to stand up for herself. She's going to put her foot down. Like, when you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff, and you're just like, okay, she's going to be more picky than I am. I just got to trust her. We got to trust it. Like, she's not going to deal with bullshit. Yeah, I get it. I get why your dad would be like, okay, whatever she says. If she likes you, I like you. Mom, probably always going to be harder, but it's like, no, if my daughter trusts you, I trust you because she's a handful.
No, it happens.
Yeah, you seem like hell on wheels. Like
It depends on who you ask, but
yeah.
yeah.
So what's like the next move for you? Like coming off of the show and all that. What's like some stuff you want to do?
You know, coming off the show, I obviously am back in Florida. I fly all over the place promoting country concerts and festivals and events and rodeo stuff. I'm 5 rodeos away from being a prospective PRCA announcer. So I'm working on getting my PRCA card for that. And I've taken what time I've had in the spotlight, and it's become a whole internet personality to where what once was Jim Bakay is now like Cowgirl Kylie. And I'm just not the type of person to do rebranding. It's just a little bit more in depth of me and where I come from and what I'm passionate about. So now that I'm back in Florida, the biggest thing is shining a spotlight on why it's important that we keep cattle in Central Florida, why it's important that we keep this ranching culture alive because it's keeping Florida green. Snail kites are a bird that we have here, and they're an endangered species. And as these developments are coming in and tearing up the land and putting these housing developments in where what's once was swampland, we're losing species like the American crocodile, which is saltwater crocodile. It's endangered here in Florida. The Florida panther. If you haven't checked out The Pathway of the Panther, that's a really cool biopic that takes place in South Florida in Okeechobee and with the Florida Wildlife Corridor. So I helped out promoting that a little bit up in DC at the Florida House. It's something that I'm passionate about because coming back from the show, and I was only gone 2 months, apartment complexes have gone up. Whole new housing developments have gone up. What once was orange groves and cows on my drive to the gym or my drive to the grocery store. And I have to drive 45 minutes just to get to the grocery store or gas station. Like I'm in the middle of nowhere. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's these housing developments and the infrastructure isn't there. So if I use what following I have, and there's a difference between followers and a following. I don't care how many followers you have, how many numbers that you have up, Kay. It's a matter of who actually cares about what you're talking about.
I love you.
So if I
I
can
I
talk
love you.
about
Fuck it.
if I
I
can
love
preach
you.
to my following about why this is so important and why it's important to care about Florida conservation efforts, then maybe the next generation isn't so bad off when it comes to these
Yeah.
developments going up. Because if we don't care about it now, it's going to be gone, and our future kids aren't going to be able to appreciate what it is.
First off, you have to know the song "Lop Loosa." Then you don't know
I've
the
never heard of it.
J. Oh my God, I'm about to make your day.
Josh, when I tell you that my car has a cassette tape player in it,
Oh
and that's pretty much
God,
what I listen to is
who's your
cassette tapes and
who's your
CDs.
favorite? Who's your favorite?
Ooh. The type of stuff that I put on, and I'm willing to drop like $40 so nobody could skip my songs at the uh, touch tunes at the dive bars with my friends. George Jones. I'm bringing down the vibe of the entire
You
establishment.
see what that is?
I can't see
Oh
it.
no, shit. Okay, right here is No Show the Possum. There's a possum holding a
Love
microphone,
it.
got the golden ring on. It's got No Show right here. And then my all-time favorite is Keith Whitley, the Kentucky Bluebird.
Oh, I do love some Keith.
I love some fucking Keith
I
Whitley.
put on stuff that is going to bring down the vibe of the entire establishment. People are going to be crying into their beers and calling their exes. That is my type of music.
Absolutely. People hate me because of it. People can't
Oh,
stand
they hate
me.
me too.
Oh my God. I will like I'd rather make you
I'm not allowed
I
to have the aux cord in my friends' cars. They're like, Kylie, no, no.
y'all still have aux cords. That is awesome. No, the song that I just asked you, it's called Lop Lusa. It's by JJ Greg and or JJ Gray. Hold on, because I cannot read. And I don't want to mess this up. The whole song is talking about being from Central Florida. And
Really?
it's talking about how they're tearing down all the shit they love and they're building Disney resorts and all this kind of shit. I
Mm-hmm.
just sent it to you, so you'll listen to it when you get off the phone with me or off of this shit or whatever.
That is
But
the first thing I'm doing is listening
oh,
to that
dude, you I'm
song.
telling you, you'll call me when it's over with, and you'll be like, "How did I not know this existed?" You're gonna love it.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing I wanted to say besides for that is what you were saying a while ago about the following and the person you are and you standing behind these things. I get in trouble a lot with social media personalities because they're wasting a chance to make a difference. I believe that
Mm-hmm.
everybody that has a following has whatever you decide to be passionate about. Me, I love mental health. I love working with veterans. We've got an organization that we work with called Project Canine Hero that saves dogs after they have been out of the military and law enforcement. Otherwise, those dogs are euthanized. Shout out to Jason Johnson. They're part of the show. Creative Vets is just an amazing group up in Nashville. But you see all these people that have these huge followings on social media, and it's only about them. We've only got so much time in this world. Like, why not, if
Mm-hmm.
you're giving these platforms, regardless of what you're passionate about, why wouldn't you make the stuff that you do? I mean, we mean you both know you have to post necessary evil stuff sometimes. Like, I'm sure you don't always want to have somebody right behind you taking a picture of your ass or whatever. You'd rather them actually listening to your ideas. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'd rather like make a difference. You have
I feel
no
so
idea.
incredibly awkward. I feel like influencers in the wild whenever I'm like out there at the ranch or out there riding
Yeah.
horses and I'm like, hey, I know we're having a good time right now. Can you get a picture of me real quick? Like, I feel like the worst person in the world when I ask for that. I feel so awkward. Like, it doesn't feel genuine to me.
Mm,
It makes me feel like I'm using them, and that's not the case. Like, I'm having a good time, but this is also like how I get paid, how I
yeah.
get, my
It,
engagement up. And I've dropped off the face of the earth way too many times to where I've lost followers and I've
yeah.
lost numbers and my engagement dips. And then next thing you know, it kind of impacts the other stuff I'm
Yeah.
doing because, like you were talking about the veterans and mental health, long and when you watch season one of Farmer Wants Wife, it'll make more sense. But long before I got into conservation Florida and talking about the wildlife Florida corridor and the other stuff that's going on, my first goal graduating high school was to enlist,
Okay.
and that was my way of paying for higher education. So all my friends, I loaded up the Jeep. We all went to MEPS. I went to MEPS 6 different times to try and qualify to get into the Army and the Navy and the Air Force. I wasn't crazy enough to try the Marines, but by then God had showed
You
me
could
like,
have done it.
hey,
You could have done it.
I could have. They will take anybody with anything going on. The Marine Corps is not picky, so I prayed really hard about it, and I said, God, why can't I join? Why won't you let me join? This is all I want in the world is just to serve a higher calling and a higher cause, and I want to go with my friends. And around that time, I had won my first pageant ever, and that was scholarship money for college. And they were like, "What's your platform? What are you passionate about?" And about that time, I got a phone call from one of my buddies that was deployed to Kandahar Airfield Base, Afghanistan. And he was talking about how somebody had hung themselves in the barracks. And he was talking about how it was somebody that we went to MEPS with.
Yeah.
And he ended up going to AIT with that guy. And he was talking about his family back home. And the reason for his enlistment was to help pay for his family because his wife, wasn't able to make a livable income on her own. So they made these sacrifices. And it breaks my heart that he thought that he would do more good, being gone.
Yeah.
So coming from that and coming from losing friends that came home under the flag and people that never really mentally came home. I started working with Irreverent Warriors and Burn Pits 360 and promoting and using my platform to promote them. And even now, I still do Irreverent Warriors hikes, and I'm the only civilian there that hikes with them and helps document it and helps put it on a platform. If you're not passionate about anything, it's like that song, if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for anything. So you got
I
to talk
love
about the
you.
things that matter.
I adore you. You are, and I mean this. Like, you don't realize, like, I've took people with big social media followings to some of our events. Now, like, my TikTok, Instagram, Facebook numbers, I don't care about those numbers. They mean fucking nothing to me. You have to have them so people will work with you, which sucks. They don't really show
Mm-hmm.
you who you really are. Johnny Paycheck's one of my all-time favorites, and he's got a song called Outlaw's Prayer. And my favorite line in the song is, "A man should be judged by what's in his heart, not his bank account." And I
Mm-hmm.
think now today we get so lost in the numbers that you kind of forget what we're supposed to be standing for and the things that we should stand up for. And I've took so many people that could make so much of a difference by one post, to bring so much awareness to an organization by one post. And they're more worried about doing a fucking TikTok or getting the right selfie, that it's like, do you not realize what's standing over there right now? Like, you can't have a heart for 2 minutes. You don't find people like you. I got a whole lot of respect for you, dude. You don't hear,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
even the way that you talk about it, you're passionate. And like, I can tell without you having to say it, you've probably looked at other people that had those opportunities and been like, why are you not doing something? Why are you not making a difference? Like, me and you, everybody else enjoys the money you make off working in social media. I enjoyed just having my
Wait,
show.
y'all are making money?
Not enough. Shit, I'm fixing to be on
Not enough.
Who Wants a Farmer's Wife or some shit. I'm gonna have to. Um, but like, you just don't, you take it for granted. You take, like, there's so many people that take it for granted that you could be making a difference today with one fucking 10 minutes out of your time. But people are like, oh no, I'm not going to get views on that. Or maybe it kicks me out of the algorithm or whatever. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
how fucking shitty of a person are you that you've been given this gift of a platform on social media to where you can help improve someone's life, but you're too worried about likes and follows to actually do that?
Mm-hmm.
You seem like the kind of person that if I took to any of our charity events, I would, and I mean this as a compliment, I wouldn't see you the whole time because you would shake everyone's hand.
Oh, I'd be gone.
You would get to know everybody there. You would make sure that you showed appreciation to each and every veteran or whoever there. And there have been people that have ran off of political platforms on social media, like, oh, I support this or I support that. And then they're put in those situations and they'll take a photo op, but they won't make a difference. And you seem like the kind of person that makes a difference. You are a badass, Miss Kylie.
Thank you.
I tell you,
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
I get fired up about that shit. I've been
It's
sending
one of my
Nexus.
pet peeves,
Ugh.
honestly, because I've met other influencers, and I hate that term. I really
Oh
do.
goddamn yes! I
When
say it
people
every
ask what I
fucking
do,
episode. I say it every
when people ask
episode.
me what I do, I say marketing. That is just run of the mill. Nobody asks about it. It's like the whole
Oh,
accountant thing. I just say marketing, and then they ask marketing for what, and I said, Florida wildlife conservation, veterans, aid advocacy, rodeos, and I just keep it vague because I would rather somebody like me for who I am and not how many
yes.
followers I have.
Oh God,
And that's one
yes.
of the things that not a lot of people, oh, I'm an influencer. Okay, well, what do you influence? If you don't have a platform, if you don't have something you're passionate about, what are you influencing here? Because there's so many Western fashion influencers that I've met in this industry that I have zero to little respect for because they're not talking about the cost of feed. They're not talking about how many farmers take their lives every day because this institution is just turning its wheels and not going anywhere. They're not talking about the wildfires in the panhandle. They're not talking about what's going on with agricultural space in the United States with these big companies coming in and buying up land. They're not talking about anything worth talking about, but they're showing you how to style outfits because that's what's paying the bills.
Yeah,
And I hate going to events with them because they can't put the phone down and have a human conversation and shake a hand and thank somebody for inviting them someplace. And it is one of my biggest pet peeves that you're invited to this big rodeo or you're invited to this networking event and you're so busy making TikToks that you can't shake a hand and say thank you.
I just tagged you in something on TikTok, and it's me going off on a bitch at a bar because I asked her, I'm sitting there with two different guys that have multiple number one songs as a songwriter. And then somebody who's on American Idol right now. And she was such an asshole to us. I literally was like, hey, what do you do for a living? She's sitting at our table with some of our female friends. And she was like, I'm an influencer. And all my friends looked at me at the same time because they knew what the fuck I was about to do. I was, I said,
Josh
what?
said, "Welcome to the show."
Yeah, oh, I will. I don't care who you
Welcome
are.
to the show.
I was like, pretty much, I was like, what makes you an influencer? And she was like telling me, she's like, well, you got to have 100,000 followers on TikTok and 10,000 on Instagram and 5,000 on Facebook. And I was like, but what are you influencing? I was like, I didn't ask you what your numbers were. I was like, what are you influencing? And this girl, just because she had some followers on social media, she thought she was more important than the guys that had wrote songs at that table that had made me and you cry, that had touched somebody, that had brought somebody closer to Jesus, that she thought she was more important because she was an influencer. I say it all the time. I hate that term. I think it's stupid. I call everybody a social media personality, and that's the nicest way that I can say it to folks. All right.
I just say marketing.
Yeah, that's
TikTok and
same.
Instagram could be deleted tomorrow. What difference did you make?
Tomorrow.
What difference did you make? You could get banned. I know
Yeah.
people with like millions of followers that got banned.
Yeah.
What difference did you make?
Yeah.
If you make a new account, how many of those people are going to remember to follow you?
Yeah. Because most people.
What's your following, not your followers?
Yes. Because like the sad thing is, and like this is a curse that you have from being an attractive woman. And most of the attractive women on social media, us men are stupid. We don't hear what you're saying. We don't hear what you're promoting. Most of the time, we hit that follow button because you look good in whatever you have on at the time. I know that is sexist.
Yep.
I know that it is stupid, but like, it's just what we do. It's just nature. And there are so many women out there that they'll get to they'll get 1 million followers. Let's say 1 million. And they'll be like, oh, I can post a song now and I'm going to be number one. And it's like, no, you're not. No, you're not, because people's going to read through it. The women are going to read through it and see how fake it is. And the men, because we're jackasses, we don't want to see you, or we don't want to hear you. We want to see you. And they're like, oh, why don't these numbers add up? I don't get it. Because you're a dumbass. That's why it doesn't add up. It's not ever going to make sense. Where someone like you, I love the fact that you say it because I say it all the time. Tomorrow, this shit could get deleted. What, like, social media is supposed to be your stepping stone to get to where you want to be as far as an actual career goes. You're supposed to take advantage of every opportunity that you have with social media to get to where you want to be. Me and you me and you both host concerts and stuff like that. Like, I just got hooked up with Make-A-Wish, something I'm going to be very passionate about. I'll be hosting their stuff like at Brave Stadium, along with down Rock the South. And it's like, that's cool for me. Like, I earned getting there. That's more of the shit I want to do, recording my show, working with artists. Like, I'm not an influencer. I'm not a fucking TikToker. I'm not an Instagrammer.
It's a stepping stone.
Yeah.
Like it's
It's a
led to
marketing
better
tool.
opportunities. Like Farmer Wants a Wife was just a blip in the radar, and being
Yeah.
a quote unquote influencer is a blip in the radar.
Yeah.
To where what I tell the people that are on the show now, and I tell the people that are wanting to be on the show, what do you want to get out of it? You got to go into it with a marketing plan. What do you want to get out of this? Because the pan is only hot as long as the stove is on. The moment the stove is off, it's gonna start fizzling out, and you got to start thinking about what you want to do. Like for me, and that's why I tell people marketing. Now I'm working with the Hondo Rodeo Fest with Dallas and James Trawick, and I'm helping with sponsorship acquisition for that. I'm helping with sponsorship acquisition for the local ranch rodeo circuit, and now I'm in talks with some local PBR bull ridings with our stock contractor and getting some sponsors in line for that. That way we can create more events in the areas that I'm in to kind of keep this lifestyle going a little bit longer. It's what you want to get out of it. And it's also promoting the things that you're passionate about. You know, there's an adaptive rodeo for special needs children in Polk County that I've been so grateful to be a part of. And it's called the Holly Brewer Adaptive Rodeo. And you'll see me post about it from time to time. I don't make any money being there.
Nope.
I'm just happy to be a part of it because it means so much to these kids that don't have much going for them because they're special needs. So at the end of the day, you got to think is what are these platforms doing to me that I can create a difference, I can create an impact, and I can create an income. Those are the three things you got to think about.
You are special. I want you to know that from the bottom of my heart. I'm
Thank
not
you.
going to hold you any longer, but from the bottom of my heart, you are special. Your mindset is exactly what if everybody on social media that had any type of platform, any type of following, they would have that mindset, this world would be such a better place. There's a young man that has been on
Thank
this
you. I appreciate
there's
that.
a young man that's been on this show a lot, and the only reason I'm gonna bring him up is he just recently lost his mother. Um, he is a young
Oh,
man that has cerebral palsy. He's got the biggest heart of anybody I ever met in my life. He literally, if there's a bad card that could have been dealt to a kid, Matthew Burton has received it. He is, and hearing him talk and hearing about his faith and hearing about everything with him, he does adaptive MMA. So like he does
wow.
MMA, but for people that have disabilities. And there's people like him ought to be the ones that have the following. They're the ones that ought to have the platforms. Like we ought to be hearing
They're
from people.
inspiring.
Yeah. Like it shouldn't be me. Nobody should be listening to the Josh Terry show if the Matthew Burton show is an option. And I feel like you're the same way. And you just don't see that. And that's so refreshing and cool to me that there are
Thank
people
you.
like you. I'm telling you, it's been a long time since I've had one of these to where like, okay, we're okay. Like we're on the right path, good Lord. Every
There's
once in
some of us out there.
yeah.
And don't
But
get me wrong, there's moments in time where I do some outlaw shit.
oh,
And
I do
next
it
thing
all
you know,
fucking
I'm
time.
calling mom and dad like, hey. But at the end of the day, everybody, it's about making a difference and you're going to be human and you're going to fall. And it's not a matter how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you stand back up.
Yeah. It's the outlaw shit that keeps us young too, darling. Just don't forget that.
Absolutely.
So real quick, drop your social medias. And by the way, if you ever want to come host one of our Nashville shows with us and be on some of the group shows with the artists and everything, I would absolutely love to have you involved in anything that we do. It doesn't
I
matter what you
appreciate that.
do, you are a star, dude. Yeah, that farmer must have been a fucking moron.
Oh,
I'm just saying
oh
shit.
man. I appreciate that, Josh. That means the absolute world. And you know what? You've got my number, you've got my socials, you've got my email. You let me know whenever you need me for anything. If
Okay.
you tell me in enough time in advance and you get me out there, I'll be there.
We'll line you up for some stuff. I would love to have you part of some of our stuff.
Sounds great. I look forward to it. I got a lot of work coming up in Nashville too, with the Hondo Rodeo Fest because Dallas works out of Nashville, and then of course, Brandon Bing from Bangtown
I know
Whiskey. I do
Brandon.
some stuff with him.
Brandon spot
Everybody knows Brandon.
Brandon is sponsoring our May the 8th public show at Live Oak. So if you ain't got shit going on, you ought to come up there and be part of it.
You get me up there, and I'll be up there because
We can
he's
get you up
helping
there.
sponsor the Ranch Rodeo circuit that I'm
He's a
helping
good
coordinate.
dude.
So
He's a
I'd be
good dude.
happy to come out and shake some hands and
Well,
say
cool.
hey.
Well, cool. Well, thank you so much. And hey, go listen to Lot Loose. Yeah, I'm telling you, you'll text
I
me as
will.
soon
I
as you
will.
get
I'll
done
go check it
listening to it.
out.
Well, thank you very much, man.
Thank
I
you,
appreciate
Josh. I
your
really
time.
appreciate it.
You too. And
Thank you.
thank each and every one of y'all for listening to Josh Terry Podcast. Don't forget tomorrow night, whatever it is, April the 19th, Josh Terry Honky Tonk Nights in Macon, Georgia at the Hummingbird. Mr. Cole Goodwin. It is his single release party for When You Get Home. That's liable to be #1 by the end of the week, folks. Everybody in the industry's talking about it. It is, oh my God, it's so good. But anyway, guys, I love each and every one of y'all. Y'all come out tomorrow night, Honky Tonk Nights at the Hummingbird in Macon, Georgia. Y'all take it easy. Love y'all.